welcome to the Galley. In the Galley today, brown butter strawberry blondies. Doesn't that sound delicious? It is strawberry season, so whenever it's strawberry season, I try to make so many things with strawberries. Today, it's these blondies. Now, I am using these to take to a potluck, and I'm actually going to use them as the base for strawberry shortcake. Doesn't that sound delicious? But you can just have these all on their own. You do not have to make strawberry shortcake with them, but they're great. Let's get into it. Let me see if I can open these strawberries, and let's get started. Now, I'm going to start with 1 cup of butter in my pan here, and we want to brown this butter. We don't want to burn it. We just want to brown it, and that is going to give it this really beautiful nutty flavor. So we're going to do 1 cup of butter, and we're going to get this going, and I'm just going to do this on a low heat and just slowly let those milk solids turn brown, fall to the bottom, and make this nutty. So I'm going to give my strawberries a wash. You don't want to wash your strawberries till right before you use them. As soon as that water hits your strawberries, it just starts breaking them down, and then if you put them in the refrigerator wet, then mold can start. So I'm going to wash my strawberries, and then we're going to dice up some. Now, we're actually going to be using strawberries twice today because we're making strawberry shortcake. So we're actually going to do strawberries in our blondies and then strawberries in syrup on the side. So I just like to take my top off and just cut out that little bit on top, and that way I don't waste any strawberries. And you can see these strawberries are just so beautiful. So I am just going to give these not a super small dice, but not too big either. And I've got a paper towel here, and I'm just, while I'm getting everything else ready, I'm just going to let my strawberries sit on this paper towel and release some of their water so they're not too moist when I put them in the batter. And I'm looking for 1.5 cups of diced strawberries. So don't forget about your butter over here, and just make sure this stays on low heat. And you will be able to see how those milk solids are forming on the top right now. And as they brown, they'll fall to the bottom. So just keep a close eye on it, and make sure you don't let that get too hot. So while I'm waiting for my butter to brown, I just want to tell you, you do not have to brown your butter. You can just melt your butter. You don't have to go through the process of browning it. But if you do, it's just going to add a nice nutty taste to your blondies. So in my bowl here, I am going to add 1 cup of brown sugar. So I'm waiting for my butter to brown, and I just want to say, you do not have to brown the butter. You can just melt it. But if you do take the time to go through this step, it is going to add a nice nuttiness to your blondie. And then we're going to get our oven on 350 degrees. And in my bowl here, I have 1 cup of brown sugar. And I'm waiting for my brown butter to pour over my sugar to let that sit for a few minutes and really dissolve that sugar. And I'm going to go ahead and put my salt in there. Now, I didn't have any unsalted butter. That was salted butter. So normally with unsalted butter, I'd put about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to kind of put a pinch in there. So you can see it's starting to clear up. And it's not as white and foamy anymore because those milk solids are falling to the bottom. And now you see how that is starting to take on that nutty brown color. So now we're going to turn off the heat and over to our brown sugar. So I am going to, and you see how pretty and brown that got? I'm going to pour that over our brown sugar. And you can see, let me flip this, you can see in the bottom those little brown bits. And that is the nutty, toasty part. And I'm just going to keep stirring this. I really want to make sure all of this brown sugar gets dissolved. And I want to let this sit for about 2 minutes. And just make sure that that sugar gets dissolved. And when you do this and you let your sugar and your butter sit like this for a couple minutes, it helps your blondies or your brownies get that nice crinkly top. So I went ahead and waited 5 minutes just to let that butter cool down before I put my egg in. And next we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla and 1 egg. I don't know if you can see with that position of the boat rocking, but somebody just went by really fast. So I want to make sure this is all well incorporated. And then we're going to add our flour. So you're going to want 2 cups of flour. And then to that, we're going to add a half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're going to sift that in. Now, I like my Danish dough hook for mixing like this. You don't need a mixer, a hand mixer or anything. You definitely do this by hand. But when we fold in our strawberries, then I prefer a spatula or a spurtle or something like that. So that looks perfect. You don't need to overmix this. And now I'm going to fold in my strawberries. And we're just gently going to fold those in. And optional is a half a cup of white chocolate chips. And just fold those in. And then we're going to put this in an 8x8 baking dish. Smooth this out. Now, I did do a little bit of parchment paper just so they don't stick. If you don't do parchment paper, you definitely want to grease your pan so they do not stick. So now here we go. 350 degrees, about 25 minutes. Now, while my blondies are in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and get my strawberries ready for the strawberry shortcake part of this. But if you're just making the blondies, just make the blondies. But if you want to see the strawberry shortcake part, then here we go. So I like to just, for my strawberry shortcake, I like just to cut my strawberries in slices. But honestly, you can cut these however you want. Now I'm doing these in this container here because my potluck is actually tomorrow. So I'm doing all this so it'll be ready for me tomorrow. And then I can just take my macerated strawberries in this container and assemble it when I get to the party. Now these strawberries were freshly picked. They came from about 2 miles up the road here. And they're really, really sweet this season. And the good thing about that is I can put less sugar in there. So what I have here is 3 cups of whole strawberries. So I'm only going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar to these. Now you can always taste this, and if you think it needs to be a little bit sweeter, you can add a little bit more. But I don't think it needs to be overly sweet, and plus your blondies are going to be sweet. So I think that's a good starting point with the 1/4 cup. Now, it is this sugar that pulls out the moisture from those strawberries, and this is what makes that really thick syrup. So it's hard to do a substitute for that sugar and get that really nice thick syrup. So you could do a stevia in the raw, but you're going to have more of a sweet, watery liquid than a thick syrup. So this is just going to sit and overnight, and that sugar is going to just draw out all of that moisture, make this beautiful sweet syrup. But don't they look beautiful already? Next up is the whipped cream, because you can't have strawberry shortcake without whipped cream. Now I make my whipped cream with mascarpone cream, and this helps stabilize it. I have had whipped cream made with mascarpone cream in the refrigerator for 4 to 5 days before. So this is a great way to have stabilized whipped cream. Please don't use Cool Whip. Ooh, you see we're rocking? This is the ingredients in Cool Whip. None of these things are good for you. None of these things are anything you want to eat. Take a few moments, make some homemade whipped cream, use your mascarpone. It'll be stabilized and sit in your refrigerator for a couple days. So let me show you how I make my homemade whipped cream with mascarpone. Now, if you have a big enough fridge to put your bowl and your beaters in the freezer, then chill your bowl and your beaters. If not, then you just don't. So I've got 1.5 cup of heavy whipping cream, and to that I'm going to add 8 ounces of mascarpone cream. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of confectioner's sugar. Now this is not the sweetest whipped cream in the world. If you want yours sweeter, then all you have to do is add a little more confectioner's sugar, and then I'm going to do about a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're just going to blend until that's the thickness that we're looking for. So this took about 3 minutes. Easy, simple ingredients. You see how thick that got? Now trust me, you're just going to love this. It's so delicious. And so much better for you. So again, into my container here so that I can take this with me. And I'm going to put a link in the description for my beautiful whipped cream here. But let me show you, we've only got 1 minute. So let me show you the Blondies coming out of the oven. So just like anything else, I'm going to put a toothpick in my Blondies and see how they look. I'm going to turn them and give mine 4 more minutes. So what I like to do if I'm going to a potluck is go to the thrift stores and find some kind of vessel, platter, whatever it is I'm looking for what I'm making, and that can act as your hostess gift where you can leave it and they can enjoy it, or they can re-gift it to somebody else for something that they take. But it's less things into the landfill. There's, less garbage going into the landfill. And a lot of times it's cheaper to go to the thrift store and get a platter than it is to go buy like those disposable aluminum tins or whatever. So anyway, check it out. Look at this cool boat I found at the thrift store. Let me see if I can get it up here so you can see the price. $3. $3 at the thrift store. Honestly, I kind of want to keep this one because, how great is that for parties? Cheese trays, desserts, it's just amazing. And then I got these 2 crystal bowls. Yes, I have to wash everything up yet. $2 a piece. So for $5, no, I'm sorry, $3, $4, $5, $7. Sorry, I couldn't do my math there. But I have this beautiful thing. So this is my plan. So I'm going to put some material in here, some cloth napkin or something. And then I'm going to do my strawberries in here, my whipped cream in there, and my Blondies there. And let me just tell you, the party that I'm going to, that is a potluck, it's for our boating club. So how perfect is that going to be? And when I put it together, I will show you so you can just see how cute this turns out. But don't you just love my boat? So my timer went off. Let's have a look at our beautiful little, oh, they look pretty, y'all. Turn that off. Look how pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit them on my wire rack here, and I want to give them about 5 minutes before we pull them out to finish cooling. So here I am. I'm pretty much all ready for my party tomorrow. I've got my Blondies cooling. I've got my whipped cream. I've got my strawberries. Look, they're already making that beautiful, beautiful syrup. And I'll take these with me and I'll assemble my dessert there, less splashing and stuff. And I'm going to wait till just before I leave tomorrow and cut these. I don't want to cut these sooner than I have to, or else they're going to start to dry out. But I'll show you the finished product tomorrow once I assemble it. I might actually assemble it just to show you before I go. But ta-da! These are so delicious. I can't wait to try one. Unfortunately, they're too hot right now. But when I cut them tomorrow for you, we'll have a taste. So don't go anywhere, because tomorrow I'm going to cut these and show you how great they taste. Are you ready to style this up? First, we need to cut our blondies. And of course, that means give them a taste. And I don't know if you can see the corner down there, but I kind of already did. So they sure smell good. And I think my thought was, let me see, I have these kind of little cups that I thought I would put in there so people could make their own little kind of strawberry shortcake in this. And so therefore, I don't think I'm going to cut these really big. So let's see how they look. So I was originally going to do this later, but I'm going to do this now to show you, because I won't be able to show you when I put it together there. So we'll get to see it. So I think that's a nice little piece. And they smell so good. I'm going to take a piece over here that I kind of cut into yesterday. So good. Just rich and buttery. So delicious. So delicious. Okay, so one, two, three. So I got 20, which I think is good. Honestly, I don't know how many people are coming to this thing tonight, but I don't think there's going to be more than 20. And I think other people might bring dessert too. So this, of course, is my boat. Now I went downstairs and I got these four different scraps of material that I want to put in the bottom. So I'm thinking maybe something lighter so that those blondies stand out. So I think that might be too dark. But then I also think like strawberry shortcake is kind of red, white, and blue. And this is nautical and red, white, and blue. So what do I think about I think, it's hard. It's the hard decision between those two. But I think that the lighter color, that the blondies stand out better. So let's give this a cut. I might have to go get my fabric scissors. I don't know if I can cut with these. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're just tucking it in. It just needs to be a little smaller. It's pretty out today. We've had a lot of rain, which has been nice. Okay, so I think that's perfect in there. And I think that looks good, don't you? All right, so what I'm going to do is I've got one bowl for my strawberries, one bowl for my whipped cream. And then I think we'll add these too. Because I kind of like that idea of people getting to make their little strawberry shortcake in their little bowl. Put that up there, and then the blondies here. And then I think it makes it easier to eat, especially you got a lot of syrup in your strawberries. Those things come apart. And this cool bowl that I got for $2, doesn't that just make you want to make a banana split? I mean, it just screams a banana split to me. So let's do our blondies. Put those in there. I think this is going to be pretty. So what I will do is, because it's not till later tonight, but I wanted to do this real quick before I jotted off to work this morning and show you. And then I'm going to put the strawberries and the whipped cream back into the containers. So we have that whipped cream that we made yesterday. You can see still perfection. And we'll put whipped cream in our bowl. And if you wanted to get fancy, you could always put this in a piping bag with a fancy piping tip and pipe that and make it really pretty. And then, of course, our strawberries. And look how much syrup that made. All right. Now just how stinking cute is that? Strawberry, brown butter, blondies, shortcake. Isn't that beautiful? And doesn't that my little boat turn out just gorgeous? All right, everybody. Hopefully everybody will love this tonight. Thank you for being here, and I'll see y'all soon. Love you.